All right, you just landed on a video that's gonna talk about how to install a door that already has an existing frame and how to use a jig for hinges. That's what we're doing here. So this is how I do it. I lift up the door with, I got flooring under there and some shims to get it to go where I think I want it. Move the door over all the way to the left. I just removed the little spacer that I had. So push it all the way to the left. Make sure you got about a 1/4 inch gap all the way down. On this one I did it. So what I did is I pulled out the shims that were in there and I hit it with a hammer and beat it in this way. So I know the door's got sufficient space now. I installed the doors on the left side of the door because that's where they're at. They could be on the right side or left side, but I installed the hinges first and I take a fine razor blade. You could probably use a pen too. And I mark my position right here. When I have the door sitting where I want, I take a razor blade and I gouge that right there. Just a little bit right there. Nobody's gonna see it. And then I gouge the top and the bottom. So now I know that's where I wanna put my jig, my template, whatever you wanna call this. And then I'm gonna cut out the space needed for the hinge to sit into the door. You have to cut your door upside down, being that there's more meat on your door right here. I call that meat, I don't know what it's really called. And spacing, so the little panel goes on the bottom. And then also what I do when I take my door out, just so I don't make a mistake, being that the hinge right here is gonna cut out with this curve right here. So what I do, I like to go over here, and where I got my mark right here, I would like to do this. Let me try to back my camera up for you guys. I draw the template right here. This is just a referral so I don't make a mistake and cut the wrong side on the jig. And I'll go up to the top here and I'll back my camera up and I'll do this. Did I get that in there? All right, so does that make sense? Now when I lay my template down, I know this is gonna be cut on the right side because it can get confusing once you move away, you can make a mistake. So what you do now is you set your jig, make sure you follow the little line that you drew and you clamp this on. And the only thing I don't like about this jig, I'd buy a more expensive one, or if I'm gonna keep doing this, which I will, I'm gonna buy a better one. Because right here, when I set this one down and I go to turn this knob right here, and if you do it too tight, because you want it to be tight, you don't want it to move on you, right? This thing will pop out because of the pressure. And when it pops out, there's lippage here. Your little handheld little router, whatever, doesn't get the depth needed. So you gotta tighten it just a little bit and make sure it's not gonna come off. And right now it's not popped out, so everything will work great. And then you take your little router and you gotta set your depth by yourself. And when you set your depth in here, make sure that it's only a 1/4 inch or less. You're gonna have to judge that yourself. You could put something in here, a space, or 1/4 inch on this side, 1/4 inch on that side, and you'll get the right depth. So now I'm gonna start cutting this. This has a little tiny wheel on it that rides inside of the jig so you don't go out of bounds. But my router, I had to make this little bit stick out just a hair, because if I didn't, this thing would turn and it would mess up my jig on the top. Not that it would mess up the performance, but you don't want to mess up your jig, okay? So ready? We're gonna start cutting this. You guys can see how this thing works. Gonna turn this on and cut out the part that we got. You guys can see what's happening right there? Taking out a 1/4 inch out of there. Just, all you gotta do is follow inside of the thing. And ride the wall. You really can't mess this up unless you're an idiot. All right. To take this off, I just wanted to show you guys what I didn't like about this. You see that little lippage that it's causing as I tighten it? And the more I go, that thing wants to pop out of place. And you want your jig to be tight because you don't want it to move, right? So look at that lippage that's caused when you want to tighten it. And then you think it's popped in place and you're using it and all of a sudden it pops out as you push down. See that? So that's what I didn't like about this jig. But I'm sure there's like a $10 or $20 one that's a little more. You get what you pay for, you know? 25, 30 bucks. So taking that off, you guys can see it's nice and clean and your hinge fits right in there. Let me open that up so you guys can see. Got the hinge in there. And if you guys don't know this little trick, that when you got this in and one of your sides is rubbing too hard, you gotta pop this little pin out right here with an Allen wrench or a screwdriver. And once you got this in place, well, let me go over here on the wall. I hope this makes sense with me explaining it, not doing it to you guys. So you pop the pin out, and then once you got the pin out and you got this piece out, you got these 3 little prongs, and you take a vice grips and you bend it that way. So you would bend these prongs so they went like a 1/4 inch this way. And then when you put the pin back in, your door jamb, your door would be kissing this wall more. That way it wouldn't rub over here. Hope that makes sense. Now I'm gonna show you how this thing works. It's got a little drill bit in the center. It throws the wood chips on the outside. And all it does is make sure that your hole is straight, that you're boring out. And that's it, real simple. Now we're gonna put this door in place and see how it looks. You guys can see, works great. Nothing's touching on this side, and we're good. Perfect. All right, hopefully this video taught you something. Give me a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.